BBC Sounds. Music, radio, podcasts.
Series 5 of Match of the Day Top 10. You know the drill by now. You might hear a bit of bad language every now and then. The good news is we've now got a swear jar, which means Alan Shearer might be able to fund a night out with Micah by the end of the series. Thanks for listening. Welcome to a landmark edition of Match of the Day Top 10, because after more than 20 episodes, Micah Richards has finally made it onto a list. Hey! No, obviously we're not talking best pundits. It's the Premier League's greatest fullbacks. Micah, how the hell did you get on that list?
I don't do the list.
No, you don't. You don't do the list.
I don't do the list.
You don't do the. I think there's a degree of sympathy, I think, involved here.
Well, yeah.
Not at all.
Can I just say before we start, he is not number 10 in my list.
Really?
Really.
Am I number 11?
12.
Really? Micah, how is this emotional for you a little bit?
It feels great, to be honest.
Yeah. It's the first time and only time you'll ever be ahead of Alan Shearer.
No, we've got another one coming after this. Biggest thighs.
Biggest thighs. No, it feels great, to be honest.
Yeah.
I feel like there was a degree of sympathy involved in this selection, but I'll take it.
Take it.
Yeah, I'll take it. I don't do the list, so I'm taking it.
13 caps for England.
Exactly. Burst on the scene.
Yeah.
You know.
You played at different positions. What was your original position? How did you end up as a fullback?
So I was playing. Look, I can see him laughing at me. I actually was a striker growing up.
And then you go further back until you find somewhere where you can actually play.
Basically.
See, I said that early on in the podcast, didn't I, years ago? That all defenders are field forwards, aren't they?
We pretty much are. So then, I'm not going to lie. And then we was playing Youth Cup.
Yeah.
Someone got injured. I think it was Wes Brown's cousin called Tyrone. And I played centre half, and I just was better than everyone else.
Yeah.
Back then, I was strong, I was fast, could leap bigger than anyone else. And then I got to the first team, and then it was this done and done. It was nailed on centre halves. So they put me to right back. Yeah. So I never played right back before.
I was very similar in a different way. Young kid making a way, centre forward, always played up there. Obviously good enough to stay up there rather than get pushed back. But debut, wanted to get me in, but there were two strikers. Put me on the right wing. Never played there in my life.
Really?
I was absolutely useless.
Yeah, it's just not the same.
But you ended up moving, and then what?
And then stayed there.
Yeah.
But I don't know what my best position was. You know, like sometimes it depends who I was playing with. When I first started with Richard Dunn, centre back, he just used to march me everywhere. Do this, do that, go head it, and it was so simple because I had a senior pro just talking me through the game. Then when I moved to right back, it all happened so quick. So I made my debut for Man City at 17, and then I was in England squad as a right back at 18, having played probably about 20 games at right back. Yeah. So I sort of got thrown into the deep end, but I loved it.
Was Holland one of your? Was Holland against Holland one of your first games? I think we did it, Gaz.
Did you?
I think it was me, you, and maybe a Big Al Hansen. Yeah.
Yes, but you lot was all raving about me, to be honest.
Yeah, I remember.
Yeah, but that's because we didn't know we'd be working with you now. Because otherwise we'd have...
But the first 10 minutes, I was up against Robin. And normally Robin would switch between right and left. But when I talk about get that first tackle, and I couldn't, he skipped past me. Yeah. And it was just like, oh my, I'm in for a torrid time. But the next time, I got the better of him. You get the confidence, you go, and then you just go and play. And I remember McLaren saying it's one of the best debuts he's ever seen.
High praise.
Did you enjoy defending?
I loved it. Yeah.
You get a kick from scoring. And
exactly that.
Do you get a kick from clean sheet or smashing it
forward? Dominating
or,
someone. Yeah. Like, you're not going to get past me. And I know I'm like self-deprecating.
What was the moment that you went from being a striker to a defender? I mean, that's a big change. Was there a thing, something happened?
Well, I went from striker to midfield, like attacking midfield, then defensive midfield. not joking. And centre half. But it was back when you're younger, you're quicker than everyone else.
Well, the best player plays up front because obviously the best players are always the strikers. So.
Well, yeah. And then I used to score loads of goals.
Really?
Really did.
Did you?
And then the higher you go, the harder it becomes. Well, you don't get the time and space, do you? You're like, wow, there's actually good defenders now. But then I actually like that physical battle. I started getting bigger. And then I just started...
So you end up at right back. Yeah. Did you prefer playing right back or right wing back? You must have played in both systems.
I played in both systems.
What's the difference?
Wing back I was terrible at wing back.
Why?
Because, like I mentioned loads of times, when you're a wing back, the onus is on you to take someone on in terms of where you get the ball. So if you've got three at the back, when you get wide, your wingers always come inside for some reason. If you're playing free fight, so you might be playing with two strikers, or if you're playing... They always seem to come inside. So when the ball spreads, you're the furthest, high and wide. So then you might have two players you've got to run at. And I was never... I was good at making darting runs, in behind defenders. Like when I scored.
Not with the ball at your feet.
But not with the ball at the feet. I think it's a different skill, that. Yeah. So when people say, you can play wing back or right back, it's completely different.
So right back is it's more a defensive role in that little kind of four to go together.
Exactly that, yeah. I could... Obviously, I'm a lot bigger now, but when I was younger, I was a lot more agile. Yeah. And I used to, no one could really get past me. That was the best part of my game. It's only once Mancini came and started developing, trying to go forward all the time. But I love that battle, that physical battle. I loved it.
Well, I'm thrilled you're on our list. Would you like to know who you're on the list with? I know you already know.
Tell me, please.
Right, okay. Who's you up against? Here we go. The Premier League's greatest fullback. How good does that sound?
It's got a ring to it, hasn't it?
Here we go. Well, no surprises here. Gary Neville, 8 Premier League titles and a mainstay at right back for Manchester United. Ashley Cole swapped North London for West London, winning 3 Premier League titles on the way and I think 7 FA Cups. Sir Alex Ferguson once said Dennis Irwin was the only player guaranteed a spot in his all-time United 11. That's high praise. The man affectionately known as Psycho, Nottingham Forest and England legend Stuart Pearce. From the modern era, it's Liverpool's outstanding Andy Robertson. 5-time Premier League winner with Manchester United, Patrice Evra. Kyle Walker made his name at Spurs, of course, and is now counting his medals at Manchester City. Another current Liverpool fullback, it's Trent Alexander-Arnold, of course. Signed for a mere £375,000. Lee Dixon was an Arsenal mainstay under George Graham and Arsene Wenger. And finally, the prodigious talent, it says here, who came through the youth ranks at Manchester City and helped the team to their first Premier League title. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, I give you Micah Richards.
Finally!
And you already know that Alan has not got you last.
Oh, really?
No, I had him at 11. No,
it wasn't 11. He beat your joke. He took your joke. Oh, you can't put him last. You're in good company.
Oh, great company.
Yeah?
No, on a serious note, I know I'm self-deprecating all the time. Yeah. If I would have stayed fit, I fancy myself against any of them. I really do. Any of them. But I didn't stay fit enough. So
when you say I fancy myself against anyone, by comparison as footballers?
It's just all round. Trent? Defending and... attacking-wise. Yeah. No. Trent's next level. But I mean, if I would have stayed fit, all round. Not the modern-day fullback. No. I could never do what Trent does now. Not a chance.
The game's changed. The fullback role has changed.
It's massively changed. I think...
It's only changed, you know, I think, in the days, like Roberto Carlos and Cafu. They were almost the first, weren't they, that both would bomb forward.
No, that's right. And when you look at this list that you've just read out there, there are players who are better at doing one thing than the other. I mean, there are who can do everything. And
is that coming your thinking when you've made your order that they can do both sides?
In terms of the modern game, and it has changed. I mean, I think probably fitness-wise now. I mean, when we were playing midfielders, and still have to do it. But I think in terms of the fullbacks now, they're the ones that have to get up and down and cross and defend and be tight with their
It's become a much more important position in a team. Fullback was it's that old thing, wasn't it? Where the last pick, he gets to play left back or So it's not like that anymore, is it?
I think it's because of the way forwards are now. They tend to play three.
Yeah.
And then the three can go and drift where they want. So the fullback or the wing back has to get up and has to get down and be as equally as important and as good as doing both.
That's probably difficult as well, isn't it? Now with that three stretch, because they don't really play two wide players as such, do they? They can go wide or narrow. They're kind of inverted wingers, aren't they? Must be for a fullback. It must be like, where do I cut in? Do centre halves?
And Trent are so good at what they're doing because they've got such high energy. And when they get into them, it's not like they're just knocking balls. They're knocking the balls in with quality. Yeah. And I know where sometimes you see with Liverpool, Trent's one of the first ones to press. He knows exactly his role. Back in the day, when I played on the Stuart Pearce sometimes, he said, don't go past the halfway line. Yeah. So it's completely changed. And what Klopp and Liverpool have done over the last 5 seasons has been ridiculously good.
I'm going to use an example, Lee Dixon on here. Lee Dixon in his day, in that system, it was unbelievable. I mean, they had that back four, which was so solid, and Seaman in behind. But he probably couldn't do what Trent's doing now in terms of the fitness and getting up and whipping those balls, and wouldn't have the quality of what he's doing. But defensively,
he might argue with
superb. He would definitely do that, yeah.
Right, come on then. Here we go. Waiting for this. I'm going to hold you back just for a second.
Oh! You can hold me back.
Because I want to know where you put yourself. I'm very excited. Alan, 10-6.
Well, I can't, only because Micah had me as 10 and the last one.
No.
Micah, 10. If he hadn't so many injuries, honestly, he would have been right up there. He'd been number 1.
9.
Try to say that about smiling.
9.
Patrice Evra.
Low. 8.
Lee Dixon.
Dicko.
7. Stuart Pearce.
Yep.
6. Kyle Walker.
Kyle. Micah. 10. Don't
put yourself as 1.
No, Micah. I've gone me for 10.
Don't do that.
We've got to be realistic, haven't we?
Yeah, but I want to argue about someone being better than you. Now I
can't.
Oh,
really? All right, let's start that. Let's start that again. Let me put that.
Micah, 10. All right. That's, very self-deprecating. 9.
Number 9, Dixon.
Dicko, yep.
Number 8, Stuart Pearce. Number 7, Irwin.
Dennis.
Yes.
Big difference.
Alan Hansen once described Dennis Irwin as the best right and left back in the
difference
game.
in opinion there.
In the game at the time.
In the game. But that was way back when. This is a modern game now, isn't it?
Yeah.
I think the fullbacks
but he was
are
a
better.
proper pundit.
Ooh, this is where I struggled. It starts to get difficult now. I'll go 6, Robertson.
Okay. I think you've done this because you know at the top we like to discuss somebody first. So you kind of flipped it the other way around. You got Micah. Tell me Micah Richards' strengths and his weaknesses.
I think in terms of weaknesses, I didn't know the position enough.
I'm not surprised you
I
played there.
I played 20 odd games there before I got the England call-up. And like, a lot of people saying, oh, you're going to be... Alan Hansen, we talk about pundits.
Yeah.
He said I was going to be one of the best fullbacks ever.
Every pundit makes a mistake.
He also said about the kids at the time, didn't he? But I didn't know, because I was always changing at Man City. Yeah. It's all about timing. Football's all about timing. So we get the first takeover, didn't we, with Shinawatra. And I'm chopping between centre-half and right-back. And then we have...
Do you think moving positions...
End up like West Brown. West Brown back then was so talented. But in the end, he just become a utility player because there's always been a better centre-half, always been a better right-back. And if he would have chose one...
Good at most things, but master of none.
Exactly. Yeah. And that's what I became.
You think?
That's what I became, where I was... Sometimes I was dropping in at centre midfield, defensive, centre-half. And when I got to right-back, I didn't know the position enough, so I was using my pace and strength to get me out of trouble.
Yeah.
Blagging
it.
Sorry?
Blagging it.
Well, I was blagging it. Yeah. But because I was playing with great players in England, you get away with it. And then I was playing well for Man City, but if you watch back your games, you're like, look at positioning there. It's not great.
But you did also say that without your injuries, you think you would have gone on to be...
Because I could have learned. If you look at my
more time to
performance, everyone... I laugh and joke about Zabaleta. If we're being realistic, Zabaleta should be on the list. If we're being realistic.
Zabaleta, there's a few good
ones. Ivanovic.
Clichy
should have been. Even Ivanovic. But he was, again, centre-back, right-back. Aspilicueta. There's so many that should be.
Again, we don't do the list. We don't decide the top 10. You pick your own top 10, send it wherever you want to send it.
Under Mancini, I had a proper... I'm not say proper manager because they're all proper, but
a real tactician.
Tactician, and tactically, he knew how to get the best out of me. And everyone says, the famous phrase, when I burst onto the scene and all that, but that was just more winging it. Whereas when we won the league, I played a vital part in that season because I'd learned. And then what happens? I get injured. Zabaleta comes in.
What was that first injury? What was it?
So I have, I'm bone on bone. So lateral meniscus, knee.
Cartilage.
Oh, pretty much nothing. I got it trimmed down when I was, I think, 17. And then every 2 years,
did it help?
Going back in. It helped at the time, but every time I went back in, there was a little bit of movement.
Yeah.
And for a fullback, the game was getting quicker. You have to be more agile.
And could you later on in your career, could you feel that you're thinking
100%?
As in slowed down, or you just couldn't have the movement?
That's why I went into centre half.
Has it always been the same problem?
Always been the same problem.
And it just in the end it got interminable.
It's too much. When I was signed,
is it painful now?
Just it's stiff there.
Yeah.
I think that's the straightest thing.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of people don't necessarily realise that. Most. And I've got away with it anyway. I've got a toe where it's all screwed together, but most people of our generation, they kind of hobble around, and Hanson's always got his knee. Lee Dixon, one of our fullbacks,
righty,
hobbles. Ian Wright's got his ankle screwed. He can't hardly walk. But it's a price we obviously happily pay to.
We'll do it again
our
tomorrow.
Trade. Yeah, of course we would. Yeah. Why'd you go Micah at 10?
Because of his injuries.
It's not. Where do you think he would have been without his injuries?
He'd have been right up there. When you did come onto the scene, I remember doing that England game with Alan Hansen and you, and it was like, Jesus Christ, who is this guy? It was so but I mean, unfortunately, you're going to get injured in your career, aren't you? You have to. It's the serious ones that hold you back, and the repetitive ones.
Yeah.
I just wish I had more time to show what I could do. That's all.
Yeah.
Because I just feel like I was robbed.
Do you?
Yeah, because every time I went to the Olympics and I come back and my ankle, I was out for I think 4 or 5 months or whatever it was. My hamstrings used to go all the time.
Is that because you perhaps were always drinking all the time and you didn't help yourself? Maybe.
Probably, if I look back. I was always a good professional, but I used to love a drink back then. Every single week.
Would you change anything?
No, I wouldn't change anything.
No,
I wouldn't change nothing at all because you can't look back, can you?
Well, you can, because some people look back and say, "Oh, I just wish I'd like been a bit more." No,
because I was always professional. You were, yeah. It's just maybe curb the drinking and the going out and.
Apart from being late on his England debut.
It's always professional. Right, we'll move this on from the Micah Richards show to Evra 9. That's quite low down.
I know. He was a brilliant player. Quick, strong. He did get up and down as well. Was part of that Man United team that were hugely successful. But the others were equally as good, if not better, I think.
He's obviously in your top 5. So
Evra was class. He started bad though. I think he played in a derby earlier on in his career, and he had an absolute stinker. And we was all thinking, what have they bought here? And then the way he turned it round, he's so much energy. He could play in any era. He could tackle if he need be, but he could also go forward as well. So he was
box to box, as they call it, as a fullback position. If he's listening to this, I bet he'd love this game.
I know, Let's not plug him. He's United.
He's United. He is indeed. Lee Dixon.
Ooh.
At 9, you've got him at 8.
Yeah.
I mean, Dicko, as you said in the
I mean, that back...
Solid fullback. Good play. He scored a lot of goals, you know.
Reliable.
Penalties.
Yeah.
Great penalty taker.
Was he?
He took a lot of Arsenal penalties. Absolutely.
Did he?
Yes, I think you'll find.
Yeah, but you know, players like Dixon, this is what I don't understand. If Dixon would have been at Manchester City under the old regime, would he have looked the same player?
So, I mean, Lee Dixon started, you know, in the lower leagues. He ended up, I think, you know, Burnley and Chester, and he ended up at Stoke, of course, where I think Arsenal got him from. So, you know, he'd probably always played in that position and knew it well. And then, obviously, it would help to play in that famous back four.
Unbelievable.
So, come on, are you playing that? You two could play in that back four.
No chance.
No chance. I couldn't play at the back.
No?
No.
And that's no disrespect to Dixon. I think he's, you know, as an Arsenal fan growing up, I think he was a solid player. But when we talk about the quality nowadays...
He could go forward, though, Dicko, you know.
Let's see, what did he get as assists?
he got his stats.
He got 19 assists in 305 games. Now, Robertson's got 39 assists in 190 games.
The game's changed, though, but if you were looking for a defender who you could rely upon in that system, then bingo, perfect.
Yeah.
And that's why I think it's... And, I mean, Arsenal was successful at that. I mean, you could, if you speak to them now, those guys who played in it, it was like a machine, wasn't it? It was like George Graham every single day. I guess they were working on it, and they had that offside trap.
Yeah, and then they checked when Wenger came. He did. That's the one thing he kind of kept, wasn't it? That familiarity. Stuart Pearce. I mean, obviously, I played with Stuart Pearce, even for England.
Yeah, you did. Of course you
1990 World Cup, and well, he missed the penalty, didn't he? But what a fierce player he was. Pretty quiet man back then, didn't say much, and I think he's changed a little bit on that front.
And if you're on about a professional,
he scared
as a top professional, not many better than him. If you're looking for someone to run out, whether they're injured, whether they were hurt, I mean, he would hate to let anyone know he was hurt or injured. So
he was hard as nails.
He was, from where he come from and to what he achieved.
You worked with him, didn't you?
That's City, yeah. He gave me my debut.
Yeah.
And he actually believed in me as well. You know, some managers just give you a debut because got no one else. That's how it works sometimes, doesn't it?
Well, there comes a point if you've got a lot of injuries that you have to stick someone
in. And he used to come to all the reserve games and stuff. I think he might have been assistant manager first or coach under Kevin Keegan, and then he became the manager. So he knew all about the youth, and he put me straight in. Yeah. So I owe a lot to him. But like you said, he was very, very quiet. But when he did speak, he just...
And the thing about Stuart, I mean, he was called Psycho and stuff, but he was, you know, and he was tough. But he could play, you know.
Oh, he could play, yeah.
He could play as well. He'd bomb forward. He'd bomb forward and get the ball in.
Do you know what because I obviously was with him with England, and when he came to Newcastle in the last stage of what he was very, very good at, not only defending, but, you know, as a forward, when you want the ball whipped into you with pace.
Yeah.
He was brilliant at that. You know, from the left back position, whipping it into your feet. He was very good at that, and the ball in the channel as well as his defending. Yeah, very good.
I mean, it's one of my favourite ever moments in football was having missed the penalty in Italia 90, and then we've spoken about this before, but that in '96. When he had the wherewithal and the balls, whatever you want to call it, to step forward and take a penalty in the shootout. It was against Spain, wasn't it?
Against Spain in the quarterfinals, yeah.
I've never, ever in my life, apart from penalty shootout, I was involved in World Cup semi-final, been as nervous watching somebody else. I never got nervous taking one myself, well, not watching myself, but it was just, but him, that moment, I thought, don't let it happen again. Please don't let it happen.
Doesn't that just sum him up, though?
Yeah.
I think that sort of epitomised who and what Pacey was as a character, because when you've missed a penalty, the size of the penalty that he missed, and then to have the balls to come back and say, I'll have one.
Oh, the reaction of the crowd. I was at the ground watching. You were on the pitch, obviously, but it was just that you could cut the tension was. It was just like unbelievable. Everyone was almost like, please. And when it went in, his reaction as well. It wasn't it was like, You could see it, couldn't you? The release of that tension that it was inside him, and he was just going.
I think he'd obviously waited 6 years for redemption, hadn't he?
Yeah.
Because when we were looking for, or when Terry Venables was looking for the penalty takers, there was no hesitation.
He took another in the semi as well, didn't he? And they scored again in the semi-final.
In the semi-final.
Against Germany.
Against Germany,
yeah. I said, amazing. Superb player. Dennis Irwin. This might be a little bit of an age thing. He probably only crept into the Premier League. Well, he played a few years in the Premier League, wasn't it? So you probably didn't see that much of him.
I've seen a little. Yeah,
but he could play right or left back, couldn't he?
Yes.
And equally as good at both. 600 grand from Oldham, I think, around about that anyway. Man United signed him for.
He was a great
Talk
player.
about value for money. I mean, you're going about the millions that they spend on strikers. I mean, he paid that back and a few hundred million, whatever, because he was Mr. Reliable, dependable, hardly ever missed games, scored goals as well, and equally as good right back or left back.
Would you compare him to someone like Zabaleta? So I've seen him, but
different. I mean, Zaba was like up and down, wasn't he?
Yeah, but Zaba initially wasn't actually. He actually came as a midfield player. Him and Vincent Kompany was playing in midfield at one stage. Awful.
They all move back. You always move back, don't you? You always move back.
World class.
Yeah.
But yeah, he was all about tackling at the start, Zaba, and then he developed his game, and he'd go every single time.
Yeah, I mean, he'd go for it. He was just a really good footballer as well, though. Like an intelligent, good passer of the ball and stuff like that. I mean, Alan Hansen, who's it's quite hard to get that much praise out of him. He always did say, as I said earlier, he was the best right back in the Premier League and the best left back in the Premier League. Wow. I mean, which is quite a statement.
And he played in that. I mean, I don't know him personally, but he was always the quiet one. I mean, they had Pallister and Brucey and Gary Neville and Schmeichel, and they all could. They weren't shy in saying a few things, but he was always the quiet one as well. But he was like a silent assassin. If you needed kicking, he'd kick you definitely.
Tell you what, let's move on to our top fives. I'm so disappointed Mike has already been revealed. Would have loved that. Micah, you go first.
Ooh, it's tough now. So I've got...
Because all you do if he goes first is just change your mind.
I've gone Walker, fifth, Evra, fourth.
You're just still thinking, aren't you?
I've gone Alexander-Arnold, third. Gary Neville, number 2. And Ashley Cole.
Yeah.
Has to be.
Okay, well, we'll see if Alan agrees.
Yeah, let's see.
Fire away, Alan.
Gary Neville, 5.
Ooh, low down. Yep.
Andy Robertson, 4.
Yep.
Trent Alexander-Arnold, 3.
Yep.
Dennis Irwin, 2.
Yep.
And Ashley Cole, 1.
Yeah, I thought Ashley Cole might. I mean, we'll come to Ashley shortly. But Kyle Walker, both kind of got him halfway in the table. What a career he's had, hasn't he? He was. You obviously would know him.
Yeah.
He was at Tottenham, a brilliant player at Tottenham. Always been unbelievably quick. At Tottenham, when they bought him, I think it was about 50 million, wasn't it? Something like that.
Yes, 50 million pounds. Yep.
And he's Pep's. I think. Do you not think he's improved him and turned him into quite a culture footballer as well?
Well, yeah. When I was talking about myself about improvement, you see Kyle Walker. I mean, people say, "Oh, if he didn't have pace," but he has got pace and he knows how to use it.
That's a silly thing
to say, when people say that, it's ridiculous.
Strength. He's unbelievably quick.
But he's consistent, though. Yeah. I know over the years he's made a few mistakes, which people tend to hang on to. I just think in terms of consistency, improvement, and he's got medals now. As soon as he comes to Man City.
It was justified in what he did, wasn't he?
Exactly, and he's been worth the 50 million. I still don't think he's as good as going forward as Trent. That's pretty much impossible
Trent's
to do.
The best in the world at that.
Yes, I'd agree with that. But I think Walker is. He can defend as well. He can put him into a back three. I think he's got absolutely everything.
Yeah, well, I'd say he can switch to the 3, which obviously Gareth Southgate's done on quite a few occasions.
I wouldn't argue with anything he said. And a huge asset of his is his pace. And you see him at the back recovering and getting back and making tackles, and when people have got 2 or 3 yards on him.
It's a fear factor though as well.
Yeah.
You know he's a winger and you know that he's quicker than you. What are you supposed to do?
Yeah.
And the only time you can really, if you do sharp little movements or you're running behind, like people hate playing against him because he's just, and he's got stronger and he's still as fit as he was when he was younger. Yeah, he's got everything.
He's still going strong as well.
Still going strong.
Yeah, he's still right up there. Robertson, again, mid-positions. Those 2 Liverpool fullbacks. Robertson has been so consistent.
What a signing.
Yeah.
What a signing. I mean, remember rightly, Ian
I was
Wright.
going to say the same thing. We were sat in a Match of the Day studio and we're just sitting there watching a game for Hull playing a game. And it was like 2 or 3 minutes in and Wright said, I really like this left-back they've got. I really like this Robertson kid. He's fantastic. He had an absolute shocker in this game. Right? So we were laying into Wright. Saying, "What do you know about fullbacks? You know nothing." And he's going, "I can't believe it. I can't believe it. He's having a shot in probably the only bad game he's ever had." Because since then, I think Mr. Wright has been proved right.
Yeah,
in many ways. Because wow, what a player!
Brilliant.
He's just up and down, up and down.
So reliable. Very, very rarely misses games. If you want him to defend, he can defend. If you want him to attack, which Liverpool do a lot, he's very good at that also. So
aggressive. Yeah. I love him.
Fit.
Yeah. He's rarely injured.
If you're manager of a side and you could take just one, would you take Robertson or Trent Alexander-Arnold?
Trent. Because he's transformed. We talk about Alves over the last decade. He's the one. Then before that, it was Cafu.
Yeah.
Macon had that little period as well. But in terms of right backs, now I've never seen anything like that in terms of the quality that goes into the box, but consistently. Like he's getting 10, 11 assists more a season in the Premier League.
He's getting as many assists as De Bruyne gets.
He's just. I've never.
I have to answer this question. And I don't know what the answer. Well, I think I know what the answer is because I think he doesn't trust him defensively. But why on earth is he not first pick for England?
I'll answer it because, in terms of when you're picking a fullback, you can trust Kyle Walker more defensively.
Yeah.
Which we know that because he's put him into a 3 at the back. And the way England play, we play a little bit pragmatic, would you say?
Defensively a bit.
So then there's no space for him. Which, look, how can we talk about a manager that's got to a final and a semi-final? We can't.
No. But it's worked for him. So what do we know? But it's just so hard to imagine any other country in the world that he wouldn't be first pick because he's so good.
I've got, I think, 13 caps.
Yeah.
And Trent's only got, 14 England caps. And look at the
he's
player
young.
he is.
He's young.
I know, but he's just, even he's got Reece James there as well.
Got a lot of great right backs at the moment.
There is.
Yeah. I think Reece James is ahead of him. The way it looks.
That's why, and I know Klopp rubbished it recently, that he said, why would you play the best right back in world football in midfield? But I've been arguing I'd play him in midfield because I wanted to see him in the England team, and he would get in any position in that, because he used to be a midfielder. He ended up at fullback by accident, and his passing range is extraordinary. And people say, I've read so many things. Even I think Pirlo said, he was quite critical. He said the one thing that's missing from England is a player like Pirlo. Funnily enough, but he had a point. He did mention other players as well. But I think he could be that, because he could, and you get more, and you can pass from both ways from the middle of the pitch, rather than on the right you can only go one way. I might be wrong, but it was interesting to see Gareth try it and he was good, and he played it fine. He needs more time in that position, but it's difficult if the club manager's never going to play him there. So we've never been as strong in that right flank position than what we've got now. It's incredible, isn't it? Yeah. They're all great.
The boy at Leicester.
James Justin.
Got the injury.
Yeah.
He could be
James Justin. I mean, I spoke, funnily enough, I had one of those chats with Gaz before. He said he would definitely have been in his squad.
Definitely.
Yeah, but he's left back, you see. And he can play both sides. He can play right or left, but he's if
he comes back through his injuries or
as long as he comes back okay,
he could be.
Oh, he's so good.
He
Going forward as well, so good. So it was such a blow, that was, I think.
But yeah, that's why, because they play a bit more defensively and there's not a role for him in the team.
Yeah, I know, which is a
shame.
Just seems such a waste.
But you know, football can change.
Yeah,
it can't. It so quickly.
Yeah, it will change.
You've got to find a way to get him.
I mean, he's not a rubbish defender either.
No, he's
fine.
The only thing
is, what happens is people, they look for a mistake then, don't they? Whereas all fullbacks make mistakes occasionally, but then they'll go, see, that's why he doesn't pick him.
But the things that he needs to work on defensively, it's not hard to do.
What are they? Because I see perhaps when the ball's coming in from the other side.
That's what I was just about, tucking in.
Yeah.
You know what it is? But I wouldn't say it's a mistake. It's just the way he's been told to play. Yeah. He's sort of not gambling, but
waiting for the break.
Waiting for the ball to the break. And then so he's almost anticipating that whoever's going to get it, Van Dijk's going to header it or Alisson's going to pick it up. And he's already gone because he needs to start the play. Yeah. So he's sort of, I won't say being lazy, but he's just...
No, because that's what Klopp wants him to do. And
playing
that's Klopp's style of football. And they break fast, they play fast, they're dynamic. I'd love to see England play that way, personally. But obviously, most teams are a reflection of their coach's personality, etc. And as we say, Gareth's done brilliantly, both on and off the pitch, of course. But it is an interesting one, isn't it? To have a player that's rated in the best ever fullbacks. You've both got him in at 3, and he's still what is he, 22?
Exactly.
And you've both got him in the top 3 already, yet he can't cement a place in.
But that's only someone's opinion and the way they play. That's it. So could easily change.
And there's only one person's opinion that matters in terms of picking the England team, of course. So that's the 2 Liverpool fullbacks. We've done Dennis Irwin, Gary Neville.
Gary Neville.
You work with him now. What's he like, Gary Neville?
Honestly,
no, as a bloke. It's funny enough. I've met him once or twice. Bizarrely, I hardly know him at all, even we're in the same business. But I mean, he knows his stuff, obviously, and he's a very good communicator, and he was a terrific player. But how is he? Does he get on well with him? Do you?
Yeah, he's very opinionated.
No,
and but he can back it up.
Yeah,
because he does his research.
You have to do your research now, though. Everyone does now, don't they? If you don't, you're not going to make it in this game.
Yeah, exactly that.
People always say, someone comes on and they go...
Oh, yeah. Off the field, he's probably more inspirational than anything because of the amount of work he's got going on with his hotels and his owning the club and his punditry. Yeah. You know, look at that and you think, wow, he's really made the most of himself. In terms of downtime, I won't be going for a drink with him. No, he's not that sort of... Well, he might be, but we're not that sort of relationship. Yeah. I'm more...
I know.
Like...
I know.
I think on the pitch he was probably more reliable than spectacular. Which is not a bad thing for a defender, I suppose.
How good was he, do you think, as a
Yeah, he was very, very, very good, yeah. I mean, he played in some good teams with good players in and around him, but he was a good player. He was good at what he had to do, and he had to be, I think, in my top 5 because of the success that he had in the number of games that he played. You could rely on him. He's dependable.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. I wouldn't say he was, when I look at his game, the best fullback, but when you do it over, we talk about consistency. That's why he's so high up. If you play over 400 or 500 games for Man United, you win what you win. But actually looking at his game, I still think Trent's better than him as a player. But he's only...
You've got
Trent
him behind him. Though.
Yeah.
That's longevity, career, what he's won.
Exactly that.
In 5 years' time, that might change.
100% that will change. If Liverpool won the Champions League...
Well, to be honest, you change your order just about every 3 minutes.
And he did say to me, if he didn't work with him, he had a number 10.
That brings us to our outright winner, Ashley Cole, who... What an extraordinary career. 100 caps for England. I don't think he scored a goal for England, actually. But
I think
aside from that, he did everything. And I'll tell you one thing, I've watched a lot of tournaments, a lot of major tournaments, obviously, with my job. And often England disappointed in those tournaments, but Ashley Cole always played he just arrived. He never phased him. He always produced his A game in big tournaments.
He's just
and Ronaldo, he was the one player that used to...
Ronaldo.
He could play him, couldn't he?
Yeah.
He really could. He just read the game so well. If I was being critical of Ashley Cole, I think just offensively, he could have given a little bit more.
Offensively?
Yeah, offensively. Just when he get into a great position. Yeah. And he's played in some great teams, like Arsenal teams. I thought he'd had
Chelsea.
bigger numbers than he had. Chelsea. Then he went to Chelsea.
Yeah.
But
he's not got Trent's delivery
that was just the final piece to the puzzle.
Brilliant defender.
But yeah, he's the best. Again, when I went to England, by far the best fullback we had. Yeah. Glenn Johnson was not bad going forward. Glenn Johnson would be more suited to this era.
Yeah.
I think if it was, because his career started 20 years ago.
He's a lovely footballer, Glenn Johnson.
Yeah, he was a lovely footballer, Glenn Johnson. But
I've got to give Graham Lassau mention on here as well with Blackburn. Yeah. He was superb in terms of getting the deliveries into the box. Did his bit defensively, but he was very, very good in terms of getting balls in for me. But this for
He'd have
me,
been number one then.
this for me was the easiest topic to pick my number one.
Oh, really? Why?
Because Ashley Cole, I think, stands out more than any other defender on there for being a defender, and he was the best at that. Of all of those,
no one got the better of him, did they? Very
rarely anyone got past him. You couldn't rough him up because he was hard as nails.
Tiny though, wasn't he, as well?
Tiny, but he was a nasty, horrible little...
Was he?
At
on the pitch, was he?
Yeah, I mean, I think... He was. Yeah, I mean... Verbally, I would guess he would give it out as good as anyone. But in the tackle, tough as. But and 1v1, he was magnificent.
Oh, the best 1v1, wasn't he? Couldn't get past him. Yeah. Tried to kick and run, but he just read it every time. Yeah, played against him many times. But it wasn't.
That's why you're telling me.
But he wasn't lightning. So this is what I couldn't understand. I used to play, I'm stronger and faster than him, but I couldn't get past him, never, ever.
I think that's just because he was so good at reading what you were going to do.
Just read it every single time.
Yeah, he was the best, I think, definitely.
Yeah, definitely, by far the best.
7 FA Cups.
Not bad, is it?
How'd you do that?
7 FA Cups.
Man, isn't it?
Could give me one of those, couldn't he?
You deserve one. If I'd have had another, I'd have given
you wouldn't.
That's it. That's your episode.
Oh, is that my one and only?
I suspect it might be.
I don't know how long that's been, but I'm amazed we've got 35 or 40 minutes out of talking fullbacks.
Well, we had 20 minutes on mine.
That's true.
So that's it. So that's fullbacks done. Will Micah ever make a list again? You can let us know your thoughts using the hashtag MOTDTop10. We'll see you next time.
Hello, I'm Tony Bellew and I am angry. A number of people have come to me over the years asking me to do podcasts, and I've never really been interested in it, but I got approached and the BBC said, what about a podcast about anger? I've always been interested in finding out what makes other people tick. How do they use anger?
I have the frustration type of anger, like you just saw then, every day.
Rio Ferdinand come round and he's walked in the house and he's looking at every door, just a big fist through every door. I remember just sat after thinking, what am I doing?
Tony Bellew is angry. Listen on BBC Sounds.